Kaixo Arratsaldeon, bienvenidos a la edición número 71 del Festival Internacional de Cine de San Sebastián. Hoy nos vamos a tomar un café lavazza con el equipo de la película de Bahadur the Brave, película que compite en la sección New Directors y que opta al premio Kutxabank New Directors y al premio TCM de la Juventud. Para presentar la película tenemos a la directora Diva Saab, al productor Leon y al productor y diseñador de sonido Thomas Aje Abraham. Thank you very much for coming, and we would like to have a little talk about your wonderful film. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Okay. Diva, your film is beautiful, and it's very interesting that you introduced to us to a very remote place, but at the same time you have the story has become a very universal one. So tell us a little bit, why have you chosen to tell this story, and how was the writing process?
So I come from a very small town at the foothills of the Himalayas. It's called Nainital, and that's where the idea of the story came from during the coronavirus pandemic. We all had gone home, and I was home, and there was a shortage of Nepalese migrant laborers in my hometown. All of them were leaving, all of them were being sent by the municipality because everybody wanted to be home. There was a lot of terror of the COVID time. And there was this one time when, because we live on steep slopes up in the mountains, so we rely on these Nepalese porters to carry cylinders, milk packets, a lot of things, a lot of heavy goods are carried by these Nepalese migrant laborers, and also for a lot of work that is only specifically done by them. So I remember there was a lot of shortage of the Nepalese migrant laborers, and one day my mom had called this Nepalese migrant laborer home. And I looked at him because I was with my family, and I felt very sad. I thought, what is he doing here? All of his friends, all of the people that he used to work with are back home in Nepal. And these are the COVID pandemic times and times of terror, and it's scary. And I think that made me curious. I wanted to know, why is he here? And that's when I started writing about it. But also the idea is also very universal because there are migrants everywhere around the world. And what the Nepalese migrant laborers go through, they come from very poverty-stricken villages in Nepal, and they live with their friends. They don't have their family. Only in rare cases, when they start earning well, do they get their families along with them. But they stay here for sometimes 3 to 6 months, all by themselves in these dark ghettos. The walls are all black, and these are black walls not because it's a metaphor, but because they light the fire that they light, the soot makes the walls black. So these are dark places, and they live there for 6 months, all for money, to send money back home. And when we talk about migration, it's everywhere the same. Why do people migrate?
Exactly. That's why I think it's a very universal, even though it's so remote. And I think also that in the film, besides being a very interesting as a story, it also has your interest is also about the nouns, like the situation of those workers that they are forced to leave their country to make money because they are very poor. So I guess you also want to place your camera in that reality.
Yes, I mean, we wanted to portray it very realistically, and the one thing that we discussed from very early on, even when I was talking to them about wanting to do this story, is to be honest in our portrayal, not to, add elements so that we could exaggerate the emotions. And I think that's where most of the choices, be it cinematography, be it the choice to not use background music, but the sound design, like my producer, Thomas Aje Abraham, he's also the sound engineer, and we talked from quite early on that let's not use music, let's not exaggerate emotions, let's just use the music that they already have. So in most of the scenes, you'll hear them just listening to music that they actually listen to on their mobile phones.
Exactly. I can tell that you have very, the editorial choices have made a film has a very documentary style.
Yes.
At the same time, also has a very dramatic story. It's kind of a mix. You have achieved kind of a balance between something very, very realistic, but also a strong story behind. And tell us a little bit, how have you chosen to I mean, why have you chosen to use place the camera and leave the camera use roll? Because you respect the time and the space where the actions are taking place. There are no cuts.
Yeah.
So how have you decided to use that language?
Yeah.
And how was the process of that with also the DOP?
Yeah.
Tell
So
us a little bit.
my director of photography, my DOP, Madhura Palit, who's done a lot of good work. And when we were discussing the film, we said we wanted to do long takes. I think what we didn't want with the cutting or the editing was that if we cut too often, it would almost make the style very. It would take off the element of something realistically going on and on. And I think we didn't want any farce. We didn't want to make anything look artificial. We just wanted to keep on going, see where it's taking us, see where the actors, because a lot of them are non-actors.
Exactly, that's what I wanted
Yes.
to ask you. How was like they are not professional actors?
Yes.
You place the camera, you allow the actions to happen right in front of the camera. You don't cut.
Yes.
And that's why you have this effect of very realistic, like kind of documentary. It's very faithful to the reality.
Yes.
Also the use of the spaces.
Yes.
So like they are very narrow, almost claustrophobic spaces where they stay.
Yes, I think, it is very technical at the same time. Like there would be a lot of rehearsals and there would be a lot of takes because we were working with non-actors. We were working with people who were facing the camera for the first time. And we didn't want to take a lot of cuts because we didn't want to create a farce in the story. We wanted to realistically keep on playing. And it would, I think for us, we wanted to achieve, something very organic with the story. Like, I know the writing is such that it has dramatic elements, but in the technical language of the film, we wanted to play it very organically, almost as if the camera was there, but nobody was seeing it. And there were technical aspects of it in the sense that we took a lot of number of takes. We did rehearse a lot because these were people who were scared of the camera. So we would rehearse with the camera, we would rehearse without the camera. And that was.
And were you giving them the lines? Like on the screenplay, was everything written as it is? Or you were kind of like ideas and then you were on the rehearsals, like rewriting? Or how was that process? Because when you have non-professional actors and they do one take and another one, at the end they get so exhausted because they are not professional, so it looks sometimes it looks fake. So have you achieved that such a natural and fresh with non-professional actors?
Thank you so much for that compliment. I think, we didn't improvise a lot because we knew these were people who were already scared. We wanted the lines out of the way. So what we would do is, especially with the